Okay, we're figuring this out.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Welcome to Sonia's office.
that's right. So my name
Yes.
is Sonya Swan. I am the founder of Iowans for Informed Consent,
And
and
I'm
a guest
Oliver
today.
Bardwell with Iowans for Freedom. This is new
Yes,
to me. Usually I have my sign in the back and I feel in charge with my headphones and everything.
right, right.
And my
This is
Joe Rogan
a little
mic.
bit feeling a little bit out of control in a
Right.
environment that's maybe not familiar, right?
This is great, though. This is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, I called Oliver a little bit earlier this evening and told him that I really wanted to do a video on the latest bill that has been passed by the Iowa House and the Iowa Senate and signed by the governor, which was a HF 902. I don't know what the number was when it got to the Senate side. And just a little bit about that process and what is it a good bill? Is it what is it going to do? What is it not going to do? All that kind of stuff. So we were at the Capitol yesterday.
We were, and it was wonderful. We had a fantastic rally with between 400 and 500 people, and we supported our legislators, our freedom fighting representatives, and it was a great turnout and a great day.
Yeah. So the bill that we were there, we were already planning to be at the Capitol for the special session. So the special session was about the redistricting maps. If you don't know, every district in Iowa gets redistricted, reconfigured every 10 years. So that's what the legislature was really there for. But we have been having rallies in January and April, all throughout the summer at medical facilities. Some other groups have been, partnered and have done those rallies. And then we've done 2 rallies. Okay, you got to do it over here because I got to look right there.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got to put this one in the middle. Otherwise,
right, there
there you go.
There you go.
We're working it out. So anyway, we've done a lot of rallies, and the legislature has been getting your emails and your phone calls, and the governor's been getting your emails and your phone calls. And I can say that they have made a huge difference. We have an amazing legislature in both the House and the Senate. And these legislators were passionate about finding a way to help protect Iowans. And they've been working on it all summer. I know some, like Henry Stone, has been fielding a ton of phone calls and helping a lot of constituents. And, there's many legislators that have this concern because of the volume of emails and phone calls that they've been getting, including the governor. And then
For sure.
And then you and I and about 35 of Jack Whitford's constituents and a few that weren't met with him about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, and it was scheduled to be an hour at the Capitol, and he let it run for 2 hours. He really wanted to hear. Yeah, thank you, Jack. He really wanted to hear your stories. He really, when somebody's sitting there listening to somebody's story and they're going to be fired in 2 weeks, it's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot of impact there, and he was very, what do I want to say? He was very engaged, and he kept saying, "Hey, I want to hear your story. I want to hear your story," and you could tell it made an impact.
Yeah, and so we really appreciated that, and he was very forthcoming and saying, "Hey, I'm not sure what the solution is, but I really do want to help." And so the night before the big rally, where we had about 400 people there, I think maybe 450.
Right.
Yesterday, someone got access to a bill that was going to be brought to the floor of the House the next morning. And so we really didn't have a whole lot of chance to delve into what this bill was. We did talk to a legislator who was able to talk to a lawyer that does a lot of work on injections and mandates and that kind of thing. And she didn't have any problems with it, which was good to hear. And so we got there not really knowing what to expect on Saturday morning. There's a lot of freedom groups all around Iowa, and we all have a little bit different take on various things. So we were trying to kind of build a consensus of how everybody felt about this bill and what we wanted to say about this bill. And it's a little bit challenging when we didn't have, I know myself, I didn't have really a whole lot of time to delve deep into that bill before we held the rally.
I didn't either. I really didn't see it until that morning. I mean, I know some of you saw it that evening, and I didn't read it until I was sitting in the committee hearing meeting. So I read it while they were working on the maps. And honestly, I was a little confused by the verbiage, and I understood what some of the other group leaders' issues were with it. I thought I did.
Yeah.
But I did, after I spoke, and then once Senate Representative Stone started fielding questions from the Democrats about the bill, I understood it better. And I saw its merits. I mean, it's really already starting to help Iowans with, I mean, there are some, was it Mercy One is working all weekend to approve all the exemptions they denied. So there's a lot of companies that are already saying, okay, well, we better approve these exemptions, or we're going to have to, pay unemployment, or maybe have a civil rights complaint or something like that.
So you can see the bill yourself. We'll read it here real quick, or at least the pieces that are germane to what we're talking about. But you can go to Iowa Legislature, just search that on the internet, and then you would put in the bill area, you'd put the name of the bill, which was HF 902. So it's just a bill relating to COVID vaccination requirements by employers and unemployment insurance, and including effective date and provisions. And then it gives a bunch of definitions, which they have to do with every bill. And the new section says, section 94.2 says COVID vaccination requirements by employers waiver. An employer that requires an employee to receive a COVID-19 vaccine shall waive the requirement if the employee, or if the employee is a minor, the employee's parent or legal guardian, requests a waiver and submits either of the following to the employer: a statement that receiving the vaccine would be injurious to the health and well-being of the employee or an individual residing with the employee. So that would be a member of your household. So that is like a medical exemption, but it's a statement by you saying that this vaccine would be injurious to you or someone you live with.
It's not by a medical doctor, it's not by a PA, it's not by a nurse or anything like that. It's your own personal statement.
Right. And I know there's like, our family probably hasn't been to a physician in, I want to say about 10 years, except for broken bones and things. So we really, so I know there's a lot of people in this movement that maybe are, don't go quite as often, and they know their own health conditions. And then a statement that receiving the vaccine would conflict with the tenets and practices of a religion of which the employee is an adherent or member. And this I had a little bit of problem with the wording of, and I would have loved to have this changed to a sincerely held religious belief, because as Senator Bisignano so wonderfully, he's in the Iowa Senate, and so he's a Democrat. And he said, my religion is my religion. It should be between me and God. And I don't, I shouldn't have to go to church at any particular place or have my religion approve that. So anyway, we appreciated that, Senator Bisignano. It was really a joy to watch you speak on the Senate floor.
And that's kind of what I said when I spoke about the bill in the committee hearing meeting. That was my problem, was how do you decide if someone's religion is valid, or what their religion is? And I said, I mean, are you going to, right now, there's people that are filling out 10-page exams on it, what their religion is and why they want an exemption. So, but the way, when a couple of the Democratic representatives were questioning Mr. Stone on it, he said, well, it's basically how it's always been. It's based on your sincerely held belief. And it's up to the individual, not the deacon, not the priest, not the church.
Which is what is on our childhood vaccine religious exemption form, is that it's a sincerely held and practiced religious belief. Okay, so it's something that hopefully you're practicing all of the time, and that's really how you feel about it between you and God, something that God has asked you to do or not do. And for many people, because they understand that aborted fetal tissue was used, aborted fetal cells were either used in the manufacture to bring this product to market, all three of the products, and or that there is one product, the Johnson & Johnson, that there's aborted fetal DNA, RNA still in the product. So there are a lot of people who, I don't know what your views on that are, but there are a lot of people who have sincerely held religious beliefs about that particular issue, and that that should be honored, right?
Exactly.
Regardless of organized religion's view on it.
Yep.
So the refusal of a COVID-19 vaccine, no disqualification. So this says, notwithstanding any other provisions of this chapter, to the contrary, an individual who is discharged or fired from employment for refusing to receive a vaccination against COVID-19, so you can still be fired, just hold on for a minute, as defined in this section 686D2, shall not be disqualified for benefits on account of such a discharge. So if you've got retirement coming or 401k, et cetera, then your benefits are still intact, because that's been quite a concern.
And that's going to be a big deterrent. I mean, if somebody's been working for like an engineering company for 17 years and would lose their benefits, that's a big deal that they won't.
Yeah. And of course, that's kind of a coercion tactic. And we know
It
that
is,
coercion is
yeah.
not consent. And we're all about at Iowans for Informed Consent that you should have full informed consent about every medical issue. And so, you know, that certainly coercion is not consent, right?
Definitely not.
So then it says this part of the code is amended by adding the following. Discharge for refusal of COVID-19 vaccination, effect on experience and rating limitation on actions. If an employee is discharged from employment for refusing to receive a vaccination against COVID-19 as defined in this section, and it lists it, the contribution, rate, and unemployment experience of any employer employing the employee. This is a lot of legalese, right? Or an employer that previously employed the employee other than the employer that so discharged the employee. I should read this in an English accent. It would sound so much smarter, right? Shall be unaffected by such discharge. So the department shall not impose any penalty on or take any other action otherwise permitted under this chapter against any employer employing the employee or an employer that previously employed the employee other than the employer that so discharged the employee as a result of such discharge. Okay, so I don't know if I missed a piece of this, front and back.
Well, I do want to reply to Roxanne.
Oh, okay.
She says this is not freedom. Having to get an exemption for an experimental injection is not freedom. This is a violation of the Nuremberg Code. I think having to get an exemption for any injection is not freedom, but we are, and you know, one thing that was interesting in the committee hearing meeting was that Representative Jacobs spoke about the Nuremberg Code at length, and people were receptive to it. And the chair, what was the chair's name? You told me.
Oh, Bobby Kaufman.
Bobby Kaufman was moved and put Jacobson on a committee to continue working on changing the legislation,
further
or
strengthening
it and making it more comprehensive. So that's what we hope to see in January, is a more comprehensive bill.
And really, really proud of Mark Cisneros.
Yes.
He was not going to vote for this bill because he felt the same way as you do, Roxanne, that it's our constitutional right to, according to the Fourth Amendment, not to have unlawful searches and seizures. And we also have a right, just a human right, to bodily autonomy. And in the Nuremberg Code, of course, you are not to experiment on any human being without their informed consent. Full risks, full benefits, and they must consent. And really, even though the Nuremberg Code is not our code in the United States, we have adopted much of the Nuremberg Code into our code. So you can probably find that if you look and see where those Nuremberg codes are added into the US federal code, because most of that information is in our code as well. So we're not really following the US code right now, which is full informed consent. And what we're really hearing is safe and effective,
right,
but that's not full informed consent. So there are some concerns, some safety concerns, some myocarditis, and especially in children and young men and boys in particularly. But we won't stop on that. We'll keep going.
Excuse me. Yep. We understand what you mean.
So I think that, you know, the speed at which this was done, it was done quickly, and even the legislators didn't have it until the night before, and then it was, kind of rushed through the House and through the Senate. And I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable about this. This was a leadership bill, and so that is how leadership bills work a lot of times. because as you can imagine, if you release something way ahead of time, it can just create a lot of confusion. And there can be, there's not always time to explain every little piece. I'm not qualifying that. It's not something I like. I don't like the fact that it was rushed, and that the groups that are advocating so hard for these issues were not consulted. I mean, sure, that is unfortunate. And it's what they felt like needed to be done to make sure that this could pass and that they could get the votes in both chambers, both the House and the Senate. So for whatever reasons, we know their hearts. We know that their hearts were, we need to do something. And this is something that we can get past.
Exactly. And sometimes we run into roadblocks in life, or things don't go exactly the way we want them to, but we have to take the best out of what we have and move forward. I mean, we don't lose sight of our goal, but we just have to be in the moment and take things as they are, and I'm thankful for what our legislators have done and what our representatives have done. I mean, they really listened. There was an overwhelming vote on both the House and the Senate.
So on the House, it was 68-27. And on the Senate side, it was 45-4.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the governor did sign it. And Oliver and I have had several conversations with the governor just at fundraisers and that kind of thing. And she's told us, hey, I really would love to do something on this, but I don't want to legislate from the governor's office. That's not what we want to do. We want to actually pass legislation. So that's why you guys have been so important, because you have been emailing and calling your legislators, and this really did need to be a law rather than just an executive order. So we hope to, over time, get even stronger legislation in various directions about this whole situation.
Right.
So thank you to the governor.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Governor Kim Reynolds.
Thank you, Governor Reynolds. We love you.
Yeah, we so appreciate your support and your just continued conversations with the legislative leadership about what we can do to make a difference.
Don, thank you. I think so too. Sonya, Michelle Swan, you have the heart of a teacher.
Oh, that's so sweet. And then we did want to thank these particular legislators. We wanted to thank Matt Winchittle from the House. We wanted to thank Bobby Kaufman for your work on this bill. We wanted to thank Henry Stone for running this bill on the floor. He did a great job.
He did a great job
on the floor of the House. I wasn't there, but I did watch it live. So, and then there's a list of legislators, and we have to take the time to do this, because these are the people representing us, and it's important to know who are your freedom fighters, right? And there's many more, but these are some of the ones that we know. Eddie Andrews, Brooke Bowden, Jeff Shipley, Steve Holt, Ann Meyer, Sandy Salmon, John Jacobson, Sherry Lynn Westrich, Dean Fisher, Mark Cisneros, Skylar Wheeler, Ann Osmondson, Terry Baxter, Charles McClintock, Steve Bradley, and many more. I mean, almost every single legislator really wanted to do something. And when I talked to one of the senators today and I said, who are your key players in the Senate? He said really every single senator wanted to do, well, excluding a few that you'll be able to see who voted no. So on the Senate side,
I do want to say something about Mark Cisneros. He spoke so honestly. I don't know if you heard his talk, but it was very honest.
On the floor or
on the rotunda. In the rotunda when he spoke to us.
I haven't watched that all the way through.
It was amazing. So Mark, I'll watch and afterwards he pulled me to the side and he said, what we do and what you guys do is so important. Showing up, writing your legislators, putting pressure on and letting them know what's going on and how you feel and what you want. That's what we're supposed to do. And he said he could hear us. They could hear us in the chambers when I can't remember her name, but she had such a beautiful voice.
Kristen, I think.
Yes, and we were singing the hymns with her. They could hear it in the chambers, and those things, all that stuff makes a difference. I mean, it makes them feel like they need to do something for us.
Yeah, so. And of course, we're both people of deep faith.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say religion, but I would say faith.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of worship going on. And anytime you bring God into the situation, God shows up and he does amazing things. So we know
he shows up.
If you have given this situation over to God, that then we know that what happened yesterday was supposed to happen, whether you liked the bill, whether you didn't like the bill, whether you thought we shouldn't have to because this is our constitutional right.
Right.
What happened yesterday was supposed to happen. And every one of these legislators, including the ones that did not vote for it, are placed there by God. He says that I put people in power and I take people out of power. So, he's got a journey for each of us, and we're thankful for the ones that are on this journey with us.
For
right?
sure. And I've heard some folks say, well, they shouldn't be filing a religious exemption. They're not really religious of folks or people. And we're all children of God. So that makes us all religious. And if now's the time for you to find that and to find that connection, it's no better time than now. So everyone should really be able to file a religious exemption. If you're alive and your heart's beating, God's flowing through you, and we're all children of God. So we're all religious.
And if you want to hear more of that from Oliver, I'll just put a little plug in for his book here. He's got a book called The Way.
Yeah.
By Oliver Bardwell of Meditations. And is it on Amazon?
It is. The Way, a small book of wisdom. Definitely.
Yeah. So you'll be blessed by that. So on the Senate side, we wanted to thank Jack Whitford. Definitely. We put a lot of pressure on him to get us a meeting right before this special session. And he came through, and Mary, his chief of staff, came through. We really appreciate you guys. Jake Chapman, of course. Nothing happens without the leadership of the Senate or the House approving that. Jason Schultz, who did a great job on the floor, also managing that bill. And the Senate hadn't seen it either before that morning, I believe. And of course, our other freedom fighters, Dennis Guth, Jim Carlin. And I know there's a lot of you that I don't know yet, but I look forward to getting to know, who are also on this journey of being a freedom fighter for medical freedom, bodily autonomy, etc. So we thank
you
all
so
of those.
much, all of you.
Yeah.
We've got a couple comments here. Let's see. Barb, will you print these names in a post for us so we can thank them?
We sure will. I had somebody ask me earlier today, and so we will definitely do that. And you can also see who voted for it and against it if you go on the legislative site and you look for the House and the Senate journals. And it's page 11 on both of them, on the House and the Senate. So on the Senate side, the only ones who, this is the House side. So there's 27 on the House, so I'm not going to read them all. My legislator did not vote for this, unfortunately. And then over on that side, there's the Senate. Would you grab that? Over here on the Senate side, it's easier to tell you which ones voted nay on this bill. Joe Bolcom, Claire Celsey, Pam Yocum, Sarah Trung Garrett, who's my senator, and absent was Hogue. And also my representative did not vote for this. So that makes me very sad. But, we just keep doing more education and keep talking to them and sending them information. I know a lot of them had never heard of the High Wire, which is, I think, one of the best news shows.
Right.
It's a once a week news show. For those legislators that might be watching this, I think you will get a lot out of it. He's a little passionate,
right.
But he brings in scientists from all over the world. In his little Jackson report, they've got news clip articles from all over the world, and really kind of bring things into context. And they really knew things, 6-8 months ago, a year ago, and we're reporting on them that are just now coming in the news.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're going to see doctors and scientists that you may have never heard before. Anyway, so they don't always know, right? They don't always know the things we know. They think that you might think that they're reading the same things that you're reading, and that they're seeing the same things that you're seeing, and they're listening to the same doctors you're listening to, but they don't. They don't have access to that. So be sure to give them an opportunity, send them an email, and let them know what are your favorite sources that are good, factual sources, right?
Right.
That'll say, these are the facts and this is my opinion, because that's what real journalism should be. And yeah.
And Heather says, thank you so much, Sonya and Oliver. I'm thankful for this. It helps for now, and it's opening up many people's minds and hearts.
Yes, and I really do think I'm missing a page. I'm not sure, but this also allows anybody that's fired to get unemployment insurance.
Right.
And I think there was a lot of people on the Democratic side of the House that really resonated with that people are losing their jobs. And I know you said in your interview with Jim Carlin earlier that there was several people. Why don't you tell?
Which part was that?
that were going to lose
Oh
their
yeah,
jobs
there were
today.
several ladies that work in the healthcare management as caseworkers and
Yeah.
managers that were losing their jobs today, and so they were very excited about the bill and hoping that it got passed quickly so they could take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And
And
I
that the
believe
governor would
that,
sign it
yeah,
quickly.
yeah. So they will not be without unemployment.
So if those people actually did get fired today,
And we'll find out. Yeah.
and no, regardless of what their if it was a medical reason or religious
Right.
reason, if they got let go today, at the least, they're going to get unemployment, which will
Exactly.
help them until they can find another job. And I hope those employers will take a second look at this issue and make a decision that they don't want to be without those incredibly talented people all over Iowa who
Right.
um,
Well, and
made a
Jim
different
said
choice
that
for
there,
them.
I think he said Methodist was hiring people back.
Okay.
I think it was
Methodist or
Methodist
Mercy
or
or-
Mercy.
Yeah.
But one of the big hospitals was hiring people back because they lost so much staff that they had to change their policy.
Yeah, and
So-
there is some kind of I'll try to post it on this public page, but there is some kind of a United States or worldwide walkout on November 8th through the 10th. Is that right, Oliver? Do you know about
I
that?
thought maybe
Emily
even
was sharing
as
about.
early as the 3rd. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll do a post on that for like a worldwide walkout.
Yeah. And we can certainly screenshot the House Journal so that you can see who voted for and against this bill as well. And I really do believe that this could be at least the beginning of a template for some other states to take some steps that maybe some of the legislators weren't comfortable just banning all all injection mandates, period. But this is a step in that direction. So that's my hope. And my hope is that other great representatives and senators out there like Senator Bob Hall and Senator Greg Schmades, and we'll also come up with some creative legislation to help protect the citizens of the United States, and in our case, the citizens of Iowa,
For sure.
protect their jobs. So I think that the challenge was really getting something that they could get all the members, because you've got conservative members, moderate members, liberal members of both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Not everybody thinks the same in the Republican Party. Not everybody thinks the same in the Democratic Party, believe it or not. And so this was a bill that everybody could get on board with. And the vote, I think, shows that everybody did.
And I see Sonya in her notes here. We've both talked to the Civil Rights Commission, and this doesn't affect your ability to file a civil rights complaint either. So not only if they denied your exemption, not only would you get your benefits and unemployment, you can still file a civil rights complaint, and you should file a civil rights complaint.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. And so that's hugely important, because the Civil Rights Commission is actually a legal institution. They can begin that process, right, of mediating between you and your employer and all kinds of stuff, from what my understanding.
Yeah.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a great organization. And we know a lot of people who have filed reports with the Iowa Civil Rights Commission. So you can just find it by Iowa Civil Rights Commission. It's really easy. It's easy to find the
Click on
file a complaint,
fill out the
form,
They'll
and
send you a form as well.
yeah,
Yep.
and then they send you a second form for some clarification.
Yep.
So I know it's time consuming, right? I know we're busy, and if we don't stand up now, we might not have a chance to stand up.
Right.
So if you realize what's happening in Australia and on Germany and in many, many other countries, and in Israel, where they were working on the third booster shot and it's still not working and that type of thing. So, anyway, but there's a lot of discrimination happening. And I think I would really implore those that are on the other side of this issue to have grace, because we know that this particular injection does not prevent anyone from getting this current variant or future variants. And it also does not prevent them from spreading it. So this kind of discrimination between vaccinated and unvaccinated, injected and uninjected people. I had one senator come up to me at the Capitol, and I said, "Hello, Senator so-and-so." And he turned to me and he goes, "Hello." And he said, "Are you vaccinated?" And I said, "Are you?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, good for you." Right. I have no issue with people that have a choice. They have a choice, and he had that choice, which is beautiful. Unfortunately, he's one of the ones that voted against this bill. So he does not want other people to have a choice, which is very sad.
It's too bad because there's a lot of people that have made the decision to get the vaccination that don't believe that employers should be able to ask you about it or mandate it. Was speaking with someone the other day and he said that he had it, he had decided he was going to get it. But at work, they asked him, they had two sets of paperwork you could fill out with your information, or you could fill out that, no, I wasn't going to give you my information. And he told them it was none of their business. So we need to remember that there's still folks that are getting the vaccine and getting, that are they've made that choice that still believe in the freedom of choice. So we need to make sure we're connecting with them.
Yeah. And I just encourage all you business owners out there that might watch this, that, we really believe that there's going to be some serious legal court cases coming on should any of the federal mandates or federally talked about mandates, they're not really there. Right. And I don't believe that they're constitutional. And I think you are in the same vein.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Jim said. I interviewed Jim Carlin earlier today, and he said that nothing's really been done, and they're unconstitutional. There's no pathway right now to the Supreme Court because nothing has been filed. So this is all based on fear right now. All these businesses mandating vaccines.
Yeah, and a lot of people quote the 1905 Jacobson versus Massachusetts case. I encourage you to go look that up. The Jacobson versus Massachusetts case is very different. It was in 1905. It's a very outdated case. And in that case, the pastor who had a bad reaction to one particular shot or injection did not have to take the injection. He was fined $5, but he did not have to take the injection. But that 1905 case has also given some precedent to mass sterilization. I think 50,000 women have been sterilized against their will using that 1905 Jacobson versus Massachusetts case. So you might see some changes, in the precedent, even with the 1905 case, that kind of goes against what we've been seeing in the past. Anyway.
All right.
So I don't have a lot more. You, Oliver?
No, not really.
I just want to say thank you. And now is not the time to stop.
Right.
Now is the time to
keep pushing forward.
Yes, keep pushing forward, because obviously, we still have a lot of freedoms that we're not recognizing that are our God-given and constitutional freedoms. There should be no one in the United States that has to take any kind of medical procedure forced by anyone. It always must be our choice. And we learned a lot of that through Nazi Germany and the Nuremberg Code. And we don't want to become that, right? And those of us on this side of, safety and informed consent, we love you guys out there that are on the other side. We have right? I mean, and we ask for that love in return, and that we can live together on this planet in unity and harmony and respect each other's choices, particularly in this great time when there's so many people that are trying to divide us by all kinds of things, and including this current injection.
Yes. And for all you freedom lovers out there, this is but one step. The goal is always freedom. The goal is always our God-given freedom. This is one step in the process. So don't be discouraged at all. I mean, this is a win for us, and this is something we should celebrate, but then we keep moving forward because the goal is freedom.
And just as passionately as you emailed and phone called the governor and your legislators about, telling them to take some action, now is the time to call the governor and tell her thank you, and to call your legislators and tell them thank you. And even if this wasn't all that you wanted, it was a step. And right now they felt like it was the best that they can do. And they have everyone that I have talked to has the heart to make sure that they protect your freedoms. So if you would please take some time out to make sure you email them, and we'll get a list together for you of the ones that we spoke of. But you could also type in all legislator. What is that? We'll post the thing.
Sure.
So you could send it to all legislators, and even those who did or did not vote for it. You could just say thank you to all of you who did actually vote for this bill. And, we hope that those who did not vote for it will contact us and get some more information and maybe vote for us next time, right?
Yes.
And that's easy and fast.
Right. And
So
everyone else will awaken that spirit within them for freedom.
that's right.
That's what they'll do.
So Oliver, I can't thank you enough for popping over tonight on
Yeah,
the spur of the moment.
it's like I was out. I was delivering my daughter somewhere, so it worked out perfect.
Yeah, it was really great. And
Yeah.
I love having Oliver here with me because he's so like-minded and brings a
She
lot of
speaks
peace.
my heart. If I'm
Yeah.
not speaking, it's because she's saying what I feel.
Oh, and because I'm talking so much,
Right.
maybe I need to be more
No,
quieter.
not at all.
Yeah. So we really appreciate you all. And this is, this action they took was because of you. It was
Yeah.
because of all of that advocacy, all of those months. And it is worth every time that we're at the Capitol, it's worth it. They're listening, they're hearing, and they will do more. I
Yeah.
promise you, they will do more. I
Yeah.
can tell you there are
Yeah.
bills being worked on right now, and they will do more. So just keep it up, thank them, be grateful, and then keep showing up. Keep showing up at the rallies, keep showing up at whatever events are coming up. I know there's a big event on November 13th that there's a group that's doing. It's going to have a lot of, we'll post that on our page so that you can get that information. A lot of speakers. Dale Bigtree from the High Wire will be there.
Wow.
And so we'll make sure that we repost that for you. And anyway, we're grateful. So
fantastic. Many blessings. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.